From the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by Grain Equipment Company, where innovation meets execution. I'm Joel Norwood with your farm news and markets and much more here as we start the work week. And if you haven't heard, congratulations to our own Dale Minyo, who has announced his retirement. He'll be hanging up the microphone at the end of this year. Our head farm broadcaster and general manager of Ohio AgNet has spent more than 30 years sharing farm news across Ohio. Starting back with Ed Johnson, has had quite a career since then. So congratulations to you, Dale. You can find his full announcement online at ohioagnet.com. In news, the top headlines today, of course, tariffs for China, Canada, Mexico. How does that impact agriculture? Over the weekend, President Donald Trump's threatened tariffs took effect. That'll be 10% for China. Mexico and Canada seeing 25% tariffs. Lots of questions remain, specifically on what all products are going to be impacted by this as new lists continue to come out of things affected and retaliations as a result. Canada already announced that they are retaliating. Word is that Mexico will put out their list of retaliations later today. Spoke with some representatives from Ohio Corn and Wheat this morning. They spoke on how it just highlights the importance of domestic opportunities that are completely within control. Their big one, year-round E15 sales. If allowed under the Trump administration, that would have a big impact on corn markets. One area that is definitely going to be impacted in a big way is the fertilizer industry. Josh Linville is vice president of fertilizer at StoneX. He says it'll interrupt a lot of products flowing between the U.S. and Canada on the fertilizer side.
When we look at urea, there's a tremendous amount of urea that flows from the U.S. to Canada in the eastern half of the country. In the western half of the country, Canada sends a lot of urea down to the Pacific Northwest California region. So there's a shared flow there. You flip over to anhydrous. There's a lot of anhydrous that comes from Canada down into the U.S. We're highly reliant on that. A lot of phosphate comes from the U.S. to Canada. They're dependent on us there. And then potash is the biggest one. It's hard to understate just how important Canadian potash flows are to the U.S.
And the timing, not ideal, he says.
So when we look at all of these things, I would tell you the thing that has me believing we're actually going to pay a little bit more of this tariff rate in the short term is because of the calendar. There's not a lot of time before we start pre-plant application. I mean, we are now days away from the month of March when theoretically we could be in the field applying, put on anhydrous, things like that. That simply doesn't give us enough time to say, oh, okay, if they're going to force us to pay the 25, we'll just go buy it from somewhere else around the world.
Undoubtedly an interesting time ahead with regard to tariffs, how it impacts agriculture. Stay tuned to Ohio AgNet as we continue to cover that story. Let's turn the page over to weather and join Ohio AgNet Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin, thanks to Seed Consultants.
The temperatures are above normal today. Honestly, we're above normal tomorrow, but taking a few degrees off of the overall temperature profile. Moving forward, we are still looking at some moisture trying to come through at midweek. Clouds increasing on Wednesday with rain overnight Wednesday night through Thursday. I'm looking at anywhere from a tenth to 1 full inch with coverage at 100% of the Buckeye State. We are dry for overnight Thursday night and through most of Friday. Rain coming back Saturday into early Sunday. Another inch possible there. I'm Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. The weather report brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply a better performance. Online at seedconsultants.com. The highly anticipated January 1 cattle inventory report released on Friday shows a slight decline in U.S. cattle numbers. As of January 1, the total cattle and calf inventory stands at 86.7 million head. That's a drop of 1% from the year before. The number of beef cows dropped to 27.9 million. That marks another historic low, while milk cow numbers saw a slight increase. The 2024 calf crop slightly lower than last year as well. All that despite record high feeder cattle prices and producers remaining cautious about restocking due to high interest rates, operational costs, and ongoing drought concerns. Overall, market analysts calling the report a reinforcement of expectations of tighter cattle supplies and will likely fuel bullish sentiment in the cattle markets heading here into this week. Though only time will tell what markets respond as tariffs throwing a wrench into things. And don't forget to tune in to tomorrow's Midday show as we talk with representatives from Ohio Corn and Wheat about their coming up celebration of Ohio Corn and Wheat. That's tomorrow evening. Let's take a look at what's driving markets today. Thanks to Brandt, helping growers take control for over 70 years. Here's Ryan.
This is Ryan with Lice Mercantile providing your technical outlook for today. March 25 corn futures has the first level support seen at $4.78 and the first level resistance seen at $4.87. March 25 soybean futures has the first level support seen at $10.34 and the first level resistance seen at $10.51. March 25 wheat futures has the first level support seen at $5.51 and the first level resistance seen at $5.68. For bullish momentum, we need to see closes above those key resistance levels. Please visit our website, licemercantile.com, to learn more about our grain marketing program and crop insurance services.
Thanks, Ryan. Let's take a look at what the numbers are in Chicago at the moment. March corn in Chicago 6 3/4 cents higher per bushel to 4.88 3/4. December corn up 5 1/4 to 4.65 1/2. March soybeans up 14 1/2 to 10.56 3/4, while new crop beans at 10.59 up 8 cents. In July wheat, a gain of 10 1/2 cents to 5.94 3/4. Quite the move after ag tariff announcements over the weekend with Canada, Mexico, and China. Markets brought to you by Seed Consultants, simply better performance. Online at seedconsultants.com. February cattle down 15 cents to 204.45 after some earlier gains. April feeder cattle dropping $2.40 per hundredweight to 272.73. And February hogs a nickel higher to 84.23. Milk trending up about 20 to 35 cents right now. This is the Ohio Ag Dat.